in the rural areas surrounding the city. This area is displayed on the screen. After information and testimony is presented on an agenda item, the members will discuss the matter, and then each planning commission will vote independently to arrive at a decision. Any final action taken on the conditional use permit request will take effect 5 working days following this meeting unless a written appeal of tonight's decision is filed in the county planning office by Monday, August 29th at 5 p.m. In the event of an appeal, the decision will be referred to the joint county commission and city council meeting on Tuesday, September 20th, 2016 at 5 p.m. Okay, when the joint agenda is completed, the city, county, and the city planning commission will adjourn, and the meeting will continue as the county planning commission considers items beyond the joint zoning jurisdiction. At this time, the planning commissions will consider the consent agenda. The minutes of the July 25th meeting are included on the consent agenda. Are there any objections from the planning commission members on any item on the consent agenda?
No.
None? Okay. Next, I will read the consent agenda. If any member of the audience objects to the item, please raise your hand and the item will be moved to the regular agenda to allow you to address the commission at a later meeting. So, item number 1 is the approval of the minutes. Item number 2 is conditional use permit number 1653 to exceed 1,200 square feet of total accessory building, and they're requesting 1,548. The petitioner is Henry Carlson III. The location is at 9101 East Madison Street, approximately 1.5 miles east of Sioux Falls. Okay, item number 3, conditional use permit number 1657 to allow a public utility facility, a pump station on the property, which is at 44796 260th Avenue, northwest of Sioux Falls. You want to check to that item? If not, those are the consent agendas. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
You got, the gentleman was raising his hand back there.
On what item? No,
That's the-
4 is coming up. 4 is coming up.
Okay.
He's here for number 4.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries on the county side.
On the city side, anyone have any objection to anything on the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent
Second.
agenda.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. Consent agenda passes on the city side.
Now, at this time, we'll go to the regular agenda. Do we need a motion to approve the regular agenda?
So moved.
So moved. Second. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay.
Need a motion on the city side for the regular agenda?
Move to approve the regular agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes, regular agenda passes on the city side.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll start with item number 4. David Heinhold will present from the staff. We heard this one last time.
Good evening. Good evening, David Heinold, Planning Department. This item, as you mentioned, conditional use permit 16-45 is to allow storage units. The property located just south of Arrowhead Parkway. It was deferred from the last meeting in July 25th because the county, there's a split decision between the county voted to defer and there was approval on the city side. So it automatically is deferred to the next meeting, so notices were sent out to the property owners notice of this planning commission meeting were sent out to the four property owners that attended the meeting, the last planning commission meeting. They're in attendance. So this conditionally, some of the main concerns that were addressed at the last meeting, just as kind of a recap, were some of the drainage concerns for the particular site that lays here. As you can see this area, this is the subject property where particularly the south half of this 2-part lot, and concerns about drainage and access to the property was another underlying concern from the Arrowhead Parkway to the north off a existing service road that was platted back 40 years ago, and Plymouth Road is the other access point to that lot. And as you move forward, the site plan shows an access easement that gets to the lot where the proposed storage unit buildings would be located. So this runs north to the service road, which is accessed to South Dakota Highway 42 or Arrowhead Parkway. And then you can see the other access point here to Plymouth Road going up the driveway into the storage units. So staff, on August 11th, staff met with the Sioux Falls Engineering Department, city planning staff, and the state's attorney, and the city's attorney's office as well. And some of the concerns have been brought forth, have been provided in the staff report. Won't go through them in detail, but mainly the underlying concerns is because there's an existing traffic study being done on that Arrowhead Parkway corridor over the length of the 2 to 3 mile segment from 26 to Veterans Parkway, which is now a 2-lane rural highway. Essentially, they've been working with property owners in the vicinity about what could happen and what options there are and alternatives for that entire corridor as far as access onto that highway. And some of the concerns have been addressed in the staff report, noted as the issues presented from Sioux Falls Engineering Department about access to lots 2 and 3, especially from the service road and from Plymouth Road. In this area, one of the concerns was brought forth as far as the area on the south side where Plymouth Road ends in lot 3, and then as you back up here, Plymouth Road, Quartzsite Drive would go straight over here, and so you'd have that along there, where just to the immediate west was the approval for satellite dishes, the conditional use permit a few months ago. And there is potential options for any easements or anything like that that would be considered as far as from the city's perspective in terms of future growth, which is noted in those concerns. Some of the things in addressing the drainage patterns of the site, staff has noted the concern the Envision 2035 comprehensive plan implies that development should not be allowed prior to a drainage plan, which would identify what those drainage corridors are and the appropriate number of drainage facilities and detention facilities that would need to accommodate the additional runoff in the area of the primary concerns from the storage unit facility, as well as any hard surfacing that would exist on that site. Plan also encourages land developers to use those natural areas for aesthetic, open space, hydraulic, and ecological purposes. Just going through some of the conditions that staff has mentioned that would need to be revised. 5, that if mud, dirt, or other debris causes a nuisance to adjacent properties or is brought onto East Plymouth Road or Arrowhead Parkway, all driveways, parking lots, and outdoor storage areas shall be in conformance with the requirements of the zoning ordinance. And number 8 is another revision which adds, so is the requirement for a stormwater pollution prevention plan and soil erosion and sediment control plan that it be submitted and reviewed and approved by the planning director prior to issuing a building permit. And number 9 is an added condition, so it would move everything down a number, that a stormwater drainage plan for the entire subject parcel, which would be the entire property outlined in red, submitted for review and approval for issuing a building permit. And so in consultation after the meeting with state's attorney and the engineering department, staff was provided a short memo which the planning commission has received in adding a potential condition that would address future access to the property in terms of any other issues that would be presented for these particular lots at the subject property, the proposed request for storage units. So I'll just read the condition here. The applicant shall make an agreement with Minnehaha County, the City of Sioux Falls, or both, to allow the applicant to privately maintain the service road to ensure the service road is built to proper standard and to provide for indemnification of Minnehaha County and the city of Sioux Falls, which basically the concern has been brought forth as far as the maintenance of the road in terms of what that is a substandard road that was platted prior to the subdivision ordinance taking place, which cannot accommodate the needed improvements that are present within the subdivision ordinance. So, and that would release, basically it would turn that into a private road, which the property owners would have to keep up and maintain if there were any issues. And so that would be condition number 12. Of course, you would have, the planning commission would need to vote on that particular item, and just some of the concerns. And this, some of the revisions and additions just help to further that cooperation in an area that is experiencing growth and development between the city of Sioux Falls and Minnehaha County, as well as the individual landowners in the area, which Envision 2035 comprehensive plan encourages and promotes. So staff finds that the proposed storage unit facility is an appropriate land use for the surrounding area, consistent with the goals and policies of the Envision 2035 comprehensive plan, and staff recommends approval with the 12 conditions in total. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Okay, questions of staff?
Yes, on number 5, I don't know if there's something left out or I'm just not catching it, but it says if mud, dirt, or debris is brought onto Plymouth Road or Arrowhead Parkway, and then it says all driveways, parking lots, and indoor storage shall be in conformance with the requirement. What is that requirement?
So the zoning ordinance requires that if there's any potential nuisances to adjacent properties, that those driveways be brought into conformance. So right now, the Arrowhead Parkway is a paved surface, and you have the driveway that just comes off of, so the property right here, which is adjacent to the east. You have that service road, which is not currently a paved surface, it's gravel. And as well as, so you have Plymouth Road too, which is a gravel road. I can go through some of the pictures. That's gravel up to there, but if that causes a nuisance to that potential, in terms of levels of traffic, or condition number 5 aims to mitigate the concerns that would be brought forth if there were high levels of people pulling in and out and dragging things out onto the road, because it's not a far distance from that driveway access to Arrowhead Parkway.
So if this does become a nuisance, what is the landowner or the person maintaining the road on stipulation number 12? What is he going to have to do?
It need to be hard surfaced,
Make it
and
hard
either
surface or-
asphalt or crushed asphalt, or a number of different options which the zoning ordinance sets forth.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
to Steve's comment there, it is a little confusing to have a period and comma immediately. There it seems like maybe there's a phrase left
So-
out.
So the period is the abbreviation of Parkway.
Okay.
That's what I interpreted it.
It does seem, though, that there could be some verbiage that's not there.
Yes, Bonnie?
Sure. The new condition that was there, and you were in on that meeting, I have a question about, you have here, to ensure the service road is built up to the proper standard. Do they believe that service road that they put in is to the proper standard, width-wise, depth-wise, culvert-wise?
So the service road does not meet that standard.
That's exactly what I want to hear.
So let me we are having, that 12th condition is what we're considering, correct?
Yes,
That is
you're voting on the 12th condition.
where that is in there.
Now, East Plymouth Road, that's still gonna be the primary entrance?
So there's no indication of the primary entrance. So if you flip forward on the site plan, it shows there's an access easement to the service road. and Plymouth Road is an additional, so there's 2 entrances, as the petitioner has mentioned.
I was just thinking last meeting, it seemed like Plymouth Road was kind of determined that was gonna be the primary entrance and exit, and the other one was gonna be totally a secondary one.
So as I mentioned, okay, I recall with the staff report, when I wrote the original analysis, it was, so lot 3 is access to Plymouth Road.
Yeah.
And that's the only lot, which is where the storage units are.
Right.
This is a separate lot, although the applicant is bringing this forward as, presenting it as one lot and indicating that there's a service road there, or mutual access easement across the property there, which doesn't provide that or permanent access, which the permanent access is off Plymouth Road right here, which that lot has that one, and then this lot is accessed from the service road. So if there's potential, I mean, if that lot was sold, since that's not platted, that could be a requirement. I mean, it depends upon, since it's not platted, then it's not there. It's according to that site plan. But the condition that notes that the property shall adhere to the submitted site plan would indicate that that access be there. So there would be 2 access points to get to the storage units from Plymouth Road and the service road, which connects with Arrowhead Parkway.
Okay, from the service road that we're discussing, basically back to lot 3, is there gonna be any gravel lane or anything, or is it just gonna be plain dirt and mud when it gets wet? You follow what I'm saying? That will be.
Yep. So I think the question that you're answering, I think the applicant should be able to provide clarification on the surface that they would provide. Being a hard surface road, they would have to have that hard surface onto their property for the service road, because it's accessed from the driveway, which is currently paved, and then Arrowhead Parkway is paved as well.
Mr. Chairman, maybe we need the applicant up here.
Yes, he'll come up next. So, any other quick questions for David before we bring the applicant forward, and we can bring him back for further questions? Okay, and the applicant is here. And state your name and address, please, for the record.
Evening, Eric Willardson, Lawn Engineering, 902 South Cleveland, Sioux Falls.
You want to address the question regarding surfaces?
Surfacing, obviously the access point off of, we'll call it the service road, is a secondary access. If it comes off a paved road and is used as an access, then it would need to be paved.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Let me first say that I did visit with Mr. Willardson on the phone and with Mr. Eggy in person. What about the idea of having it be in on the south end and out on the north end? Does that occur to you at all? Or, because that south end, if you're going east on Highway 42, to make that turn, it's like a hairpin almost, and I think there is concern about the safety there. Have you given any consideration to the idea that the primary entrance be on the south off of Plymouth, and that at most then the southern service road exit would just be the exit?
We have, and we do think that Plymouth Road is going to be the primary access to the property. That with this phase, if Mr. Adding decides to further this development to the north on the future lots, I think that would certainly be an access point too. We all know that there's design underway on Highway 42 Arrowhead for a new road. Certainly safety concerns will be foremost on the access points all along Highway 42, and we'll address that at those times. Maybe the access will change. We don't know. That's up to DOT and the City of Sioux Falls if they'll change the access points. But right now, this is the dictated by the courts. We provided you with the opinion, judgment of Judge Peckus as to this is the access to this lot. Granted, this first phase is for the southern portion of the lot, and we do think that the primary access will be off Plymouth.
Would you have any objection to, like Commissioner Barth says, having a sign that says this is entrance, this is exit? I mean, that's pretty simple.
No,
Controls the traffic.
I don't think they would, no. There is plenty of room. If you go out there and look, I mean, you say hairpin, I say U-turn.
pretty tight.
They do those all over the city on the limited access roads. Yeah, there's, I think you can get in there. And granted, this is a storage facility. It's not a convenience store or a fast food restaurant.
Any other questions of the petitioner? If not, thank you.
Thank you. I'd be willing to address drainage concerns if they come up
Okay.
in the future.
Okay, we will. Okay, anyone else in the audience want to address this issue? Yes, Mr. Ege, come forward, state your name and address, please.
Todd Ege, 48285 Creekview Circle, Brandon, South Dakota. I want to thank everybody that took their personal time to go and take a view of this site as far as for the applicant's sake and the adjacent landowners, namely myself. As I said previously, I didn't have any issues with the idea of storage units on this site. I do have high concern with the proper study is done for the water runoff. Kind of heads my way. Lastly, the most important issue that at stake is the safety to the public and allowing access from the south of Lot 3, which is the only point with the proper width road abutting Lot 3. To support this, be it noted that the applicant only has storage units shown on Lot 3 on the engineered drawing provided by Willitson Lawn Engineering. As an outside solution, if the applicant or the future landowner would like to purchase some more land, I might have that available. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Ege before he sat down? Okay. Okay, seeing none, anyone else in the audience care to address this? Come forward, please. State your name and address for the record.
Joe Eggy, 205 North Leaders. Again, I don't want to reiterate the 45-minute battle we had last month, but the safety and from coming off of the highway, I did my own little study because I'm kind of a hands-on individual. I had a 24-foot trailer, and I bring up the trailers because people were going to bring trailers into storage units. I had a 24-foot trailer. I came from the west going eastbound, and I attempted to turn in both as if someone was sitting in the easement to turn out of the highway from, say, our parking lot, and as if somebody was not sitting there. If somebody is sitting there, that trailer's not gonna make the corner. I just about took out, the trailer is in the ditch. So the other way around, even if nobody is there to go 180 degrees, I had to slow down to nearly 5 miles an hour. And as Mr. Willitson says, you have those all over town. That's 35 mile an hour, not 55. So, and a lot of people are out there doing 60 plus. So, just gonna reiterate the safety, and I'm available for questions also.
Okay.
One more. It was asked last month of which way the fire department would respond, and it would be to the address side to clarify that. And judging by the picture, the address will probably be Plymouth. So,
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to address this issue, item? If not, we'll close the floor for discussion, motions.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve this with the 12th condition or whatever that we've earlier approved.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Any additional comments before we vote?
I'll just say that I think that both sides have looked at this, and there's a commonality of understanding on all the issues involved, and so it's my sincere hope that there won't be any issues as we go forward.
Yes, Bonnie?
I have my concerns too about public safety. I mean, I live in that area. You know, I've always said that, you know, does it take somebody getting killed out there before we make the right decisions? I don't disagree that there is no way you're gonna make that turn in there. I've looked at that several times myself. And I know that we could probably add an additional condition, but I don't think that's gonna help the purpose of the whole thing. I'm not opposed to what's gonna go out there. I'm just concerned about what could happen out there. I think that you are gonna address the drainage issues just like what should be, and I know that that is something between the two of you. That's not really up to us. But hopefully, you know, you'll compromise between the two of you and make this work.
Any additional comments?
I just kind of like to echo what Bonnie said, but also on that secondary access or exit, whatever you want to call it, could there be any possible way a gate could be put in there, just to stop people from driving back? They're just a bunch of looky-loos, and who knows what might happen, because there will be no lighting back in that lot, so who knows what would go on in the evening times when it is dark. So that's my biggest concern. As far as the lots or the storage facility, it's a great place for storage facilities. They're kind of hidden, so they won't be an eyesore.
Okay. Anybody else care to comment or issues, or we'll call for a vote? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Hey.
Okay, the motion carries.
On the city side, need a motion?
Motion to approve for discussion.
You need to add number 12
Oh.
to that.
Sorry, motion to approve for discussion with the 12 conditions as stated by staff.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second, discussion?
I'll echo what some of the folks were saying on the city side with the secondary access to the north. With this agreement that is proposed here, that'll be between the county, the city, and to be privately maintained, I think it would behoove the owners to secure that section of the road so it doesn't turn into anything other than access specifically for that purpose.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I need all in favor of item number 4 with the 12 stipulations, signify by saying yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes on the city side.
Okay, then that concludes the business of the joint planning and zoning meeting.
Need a motion for adjournment,
So moved.
Second.
signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Did we adjourn?
On the city side.
As soon as the room clears, we'll start the county's